Hey everybody, what's going on? This is your man Big B, Brian Hanley, and welcome to Steelers Almighty All-22 breakdown of the offensive line of our loss to the Baltimore Ravens. As far as the offensive line goes, people, look, at first glance, watching the game, you thought, okay, the offensive line wasn't great. But it wasn't as bad as what you may have thought. Look, I thought they were really good in the run game. Obviously, there's plays here and there where they weren't quite as good, but for the most part, offensive line was pretty good in the run game. And in the passing game, you look at some of the advanced statistics and you talk about pressures. There were 14 pressures on 33 pass attempts. Five of those pressures, though, came from Russ holding the ball way too long and also running into pressure. So while the offensive line, maybe in pass protection, wasn't spectacular, they weren't terrible. They weren't terrible. So we're going to break all that down for you today. Let's get into this, people. So, first thing is literally the first play from scrimmage for the Steelers. We're backed up, first and 10, 3 yard line, 13 personnel. This is a 5 yard gain by Najee. Breaks a tackle immediately. Look, now this was a rough game for our man McCormick. Here, he does enough, but he doesn't fight hard enough. I mean, you see his steps, look at his feet initially. He gets there, but no punch. Like his feet are in good spot, but he just doesn't punch and lets the guy. Now, granted, the guy's crossing his face because they're slanting, but you got to punch and drive the guy. He catches, and when he catches and he basically gets his body out over his feet with no punch, the guy, he rips through and he's there and he slows Najee down. Not only does he slow Najee down, he slows Pruitt down, who's pulling on the play. So it causes the entire play to slow down here. He does enough, don't get me wrong. But if he pushes here and pushes him past, it doesn't slow everybody down. Now, Broderick, on the other hand, I'm not sure what he's doing here. He goes down. The 5 technique crosses his face, so he lets him go. Then you think, okay, he's going to come up and block this linebacker, but he's way off balance and he overruns it, and that's part of Broderick. He's trying here, though. He's trying. He just gets knocked off balance. Now, don't get me wrong, that can't happen, but at least he's trying. He's trying to do his thing here. Fryermuth does a good job blocking on his side because we know that is not his strength, but he does a good job. Frazier does a solid job here blocking back. Doesn't get to the backer. You'd like him see him be able to get to the backer, but down on the goal line, your job is movement. Let's get guys off the line of scrimmage. And him and Isaac do that. They get them off the line of scrimmage. So it's an early play. Like I said, 5 yard game. Pruitt doesn't block anybody because he gets held up here. But I'm just wondering on this play, if he doesn't get held up, if he gets outside and Najee's able to follow him, how big a play is this? So I don't know. But even still, 5 yards on the first play from scrimmage on your own 3 yard line, I will take it. All right, next play here. First and 10, Pittsburgh 44. We're in 12 personnel. Our man Mason, like I mentioned, wasn't a good game, but he gets lazy here. Come on, man. Now, this one, first off, let me start here. I thought Russ could have thrown this ball away. I thought, look, I get it. It may not have been open. I think he can throw this ball out of bounds. Just get it out of your hand and get rid of the football. I thought he had every opportunity to do that here. But he doesn't. But either way, talk about the offensive line. This is not our man McCormick's best effort here. He comes off and just gets wrong armed. We saw it constantly last week where guys are just swimming him. He just got to get in front. You're in front. He's in position, but you see his feet come together. And when your feet come together, when you're sliding, I know he's not a basketball player, but he did play basketball. They don't teach you to grab when you're playing defense to bring your feet together. That is not what you do. As an offensive lineman, that is not what you do. And he does here. And when he does, he's out of position. and the guy swims him. Now, Broderick tries to save him, but Broderick's already blocking a guy, you know. And I know when you see this, you saw this on TV, you probably thought, come on, Broderick, what are you doing? Nah, Broderick's blocking a guy already. He's just trying to help. This is not Broderick's fault. He's doing the best he can. He's got a guy, and he's trying to help, but he tries to help late. And even when he tries to help late, that's when I say Russ can throw this football away. He can get rid of it. Everybody else is good on this play, but it starts with McCormick. You can't let this happen, especially against a guy that's not even a pass rusher. Okay, Pierce is not a pass rusher. That's not what he does. And for you to allow this, oh, like I said, just gets overextended and gets swam. Look, I understand that his technique is going to be bad or is bad, but some of this, at some point, you got to work on your craft. We can blame, the offensive line coach all we want. And don't get me wrong, I don't think Pat Meyer is worth a damn as far as an offensive line coach. I really don't. But at some point, guys got to take. I mean, we're not talking about the second week here. I mean, this is week 16. At some point, he's got to get better at this. That shouldn't be happening against non-pass rushers, man. Just shouldn't be happening. Next up, 3rd and 7 from Pittsburgh, 47. We're in 11 personnel. Right here, Russ does some work here. But if you'll notice, our man McCormick again. Now, here's where McCormick's problem is. Look, I don't want this to become Mason McCormick just bass session, but he had a bad football game. And, as tough as I was on Broderick when Broderick was having horrible games, I got to call it like I see it, people. This was a horrible football game for McCormick. Now, here's where his problem is. He's blocking this like he's a right tackle. You can't do that as a guard. Basically, he's trying to influence the guy to rush upfield and to rush wide. You can't do that as a guard. You got to keep your shoulders square. Well, he drops his back foot and wants him to run wide. Well, if you do that, you better have the strength of Goliath to keep these guys from turning the corner. Well, he doesn't have that. And he gets pushed right back into Russ, and he goes right around him. I mean, again, you see him, he drops that foot trying to get him to rush wide. Well, his technique is bad. He's standing straight up. He knocks his hands down. But if your shoulders are square and the guy knocks your hands down, you're still in front of him. As a guard, if you are sideways, like he's sideways, and he knocks your hands down, he's turning the corner immediately. And he drops his his outside foot and just gives a clear path inside. You can't do that as a guard. You just can't. You can't. You got to stay square. And he doesn't. He does not stay square. I like Broderick's fight here, and a lot of people, again, during the game, I saw a lot of tweets out there. What's Dan Moore Jr. doing? Dan Moore has this guy blocked. Now, at the end, he gets off. But Rush should have already have thrown the football, and this guy goes way wide. I mean, Dan Moore can't block a guy, 10 yards around the quarterback. This guy's blocked. But this is McCormick right here. But Russ does some work here. This is old Russ right here. This is when I thought, okay, we got something going in this game. But McCormick, come on, man. Can't let that outside foot drop. You got to stay square as a guard. You're not a tackle. You don't have that luxury of pushing guys past. They're not going to go past. They're just going to break your outside hand down, and they're going to rush and be in the quarterback's lap. Okay. So here we got 3rd and 5 from the Pitt 35. We are in 11 personnel. Another sack. I hate to do it. Our man McCormick here. Now, at first glance, everybody, and myself included, when I first saw this, I thought, come on, Broderick, what are you doing? This is not Broderick Jones' fault, not even a little bit. See, the problem here is on a twist. And let's just start with something good. Look at the left side, Moore, Siamalu, and Frazier. Look how they handle the twist. Look how they handle it. We'll start with them. Something positive here. And they do it exactly how you teach it. They pass it off. Everybody stays square. Everybody, passes it off. They're on the same levels, and it makes the job easy. Everybody's on the same level. You see it, you get physical, you actually pass it off. You don't just look inside, put your hand on somebody. Look at Dan Moore, how physical he gets with the end. He passes it off and pushes the guy inside. That's what you have to do. You can't just let him run and blow up the guard who may or may not be looking. You got to pass him. Same thing with Frazier, is that he puts his hands on the guy and stops him. Now you go to the other side. McCormick doesn't do that. First, again, the same thing. He drops that outside leg. And as soon as he drops his outside leg, the levels are uneven. And then he just puts his hands on Van Noy's back. That's not passing him off. Now, again, I don't even know if he's going to be able to pass him off, even if he does punch him, because he drops his outside foot to make the levels uneven. You can't do that as a guard, but he does. And as soon as he does, this play is blown up because Broderick doesn't step inside fast. He could probably get inside and step inside quick enough, but he doesn't have the leverage on this play. There's nothing he can do. The guy's already on his inside shoulder. What's he supposed to do? And he blows him up. He blows up his inside leg. There's nothing that he can do here. This is all McCormick. And again, I know I was the same way. I looked at the screen. I said, come on, Broderick. It's not Broderick Jones' fault at all, people. Not at all. The only thing that you could say is maybe he could step inside quicker and recognize the twist quicker. But even at that, the leverage is gone because McCormick gave up the leverage when he drops his outside foot. And when you drop your outside leg, the levels are uneven. Even he's late getting back to block the twist. Why? Because he's not square. It's that simple. And so he's late. So Russ has to move and goes into a sack. This is all McCormick. Again, the mechanics, the technique. It's just got to get better. The problem is, and I've been hesitant to say it because I like McCormick so much, he's a backup guard. I mean, let's just call it what it is. He was a 4th-round draft pick from an FCS school where he wasn't supposed to be starting right now. This was James Daniels. He's supposed to be learning this year, but he's been forced into action. And for the most part, don't get me wrong, he's super aggressive. But when we're starting to play some really good competition, and we have the last couple of weeks, plus he's starting to hit that rookie wall, it hasn't looked good. And this is another example of it. When your technique is bad and you play good competition, they make you pay for it. And here, they made him pay for it. All right, we got a 1st and 10 here. Pittsburgh 30, 11 personnel. So here's the thing, people. Look at our man, Broderick Jones. Look how athletic he is here. Look at this athleticism. This is how they teach you to pull. That initial footwork, people, is something of a power forward in the NBA. Look at his initial footwork. That is a thing of beauty. And look how athletic he is. Do you see why, number one, why the Steelers drafted him, and why when he does it right, how it looks? This is what we saw last year out of Broderick. We haven't seen him pulling a whole lot this year, and Arthur Smith must have put this in this week because we saw him and Dan Moore do it. We got to get more Broderick out here in space like this, because look at him, and then look how powerful he gets in finishing blocks. That's the Broderick we saw last year, people. It's just the truth. That's the guy we saw. That initial footwork is a thing of beauty. A thing of beauty. Here, our man Mason McCormick, again, he does enough on the backside, keeps his man occupied, and he's going against an inside dominator there. So good on him. Frazier gets through. He's up the field, 8, 10 yards here, blocking a linebacker, making a linebacker run around him. I thought Isaac could be a little bit more physical here. Um, but again, this is 5 yards down the field. He's staying attached. But yeah, this is a good physical football play by the Pittsburgh Steelers line. I like Dan Moore. He's being physical here. This is just a really good football play. And again, I want to highlight Broderick because I've been hard on him, super hard on him, and needed to be. But when he does it right, I told you all, I'll give everybody credit when they do it right. And because I know how talented he is, this right here shows you how talented Broderick Jones is. This play tells you, okay, we got something. We just got to refine it. Now, I didn't like how we started the third quarter. This is the first play of the third quarter. I didn't like this. We come out in 11 personnel, but again, the formation is tight. I didn't like how we started. However, again, this is a toss play. It's here, ladies and gentlemen. I know we're getting tired of it. This toss play, if blocked properly, it's here. You can't blame. I mean, and again, it's one guy. It's one guy. Look, Darnell Washington on this play doesn't come off soon enough to block Kyle Hamilton. Now, they got a ton of guys in the box. I mean, you count them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and Kyle Hamilton comes down. I mean, they got 8 guys right around the line of scrimmage. I mean, they're there. And there's going to be an unblocked guy. But if you want it to be the unblocked guy, let it be the corner. You know, I'll take my chances one-on-one with Jalen Warren or Najee Harris on a cornerback. And I don't care who the cornerback is. Well, you look at this play, when it starts to develop and Jalen Warren gets the ball, this play is blocked. If we stop it when he gets the ball, he's got to press this thing outside. I don't like that he's trying to cut it inside. Now, I see what he's looking at. Dan Moore and Isaac Siamalu make a seam because they reach their guys, and they're running them upfield. So that's what he's looking at. He's thinking, okay, I got an alley here. The problem is Kyle Hamilton's in the alley, and Darnell Washington is blocking, trying to seal outside. Like I said, I'll take my chances with Warren pressing it outside and then going up against the cornerback. Instead, he tries to hit the alley, and Washington doesn't come off because he's probably thinking, hey, man, we got this sealed. And he doesn't. And Hamilton comes off and makes the play. Didn't like you. Running back sometimes got to help you. And I get it, but when he starts to make his cut, I mean, that's the thing. As soon as Warren gets the ball, Kyle Hamilton is in that alley. He's there. You got to keep pressing this outside, man. And those guys are blocking. They got him blocked. You got to stay out there. You got to stay out there. You can't cut everything back. You just can't. And sometimes the cutback's not there. This is one of those times. It's not there. Keep going outside because they get this thing blocked up outside. This could be a big game because Van Jefferson and Skowronek are doing their job. Warren, this is on Warren here. The offensive line was good here. Offensive line is good here. So, although I will say our man Mason McCormick, I'm not sure what he's doing and turning around, looking for the backside to block somebody. What are you doing there, brother? Just come on, man. Just spinning around. You're not blocking anybody on a toss play away, spinning around, looking behind you. There's no reason for that. There's no reason for that. You know, Broderick does his thing. I don't know. That just Warren didn't help. McCormick is being a ballerina. But everybody else was pretty good. Don't hate the toss play, people. Don't hate it. This one wasn't bad. Running backs got to help. It's got to help the line. All right, we got 3rd and 6. We're in 11 personnel. We're at the Baltimore 40-yard line. Good pass to Calvin Austin here. Let's see the offensive line. Now, first thing is that they come late, because we motion out, or I guess we shift out, not really motion. But Roquan Smith comes back inside. So they're rushing 5, or it appears that they're rushing 5. They got 6 in the box. Great by the inside 3. Great by the inside 3. I know McCormick comes off late, but he passed this time. See, before he didn't pass. This time he passes. He keeps his shoulder square on the twist. There's a little game inside here. I get it that he comes off late, but he passes. Good job by these 3 inside. Again, Frazier, he passes. The key is keeping your shoulder square and not dropping back, not dropping an outside leg or dropping any leg. You got to stay square. And these guys stay square, and then they see it. They see it because Frazier sees it, and he passes. He comes back. It's a great job by those 3 inside, man. Then we look at our man, Dan Moore. Good fight here. Good by Broderick. This is a clean NFL pocket here, people. This is a clean NFL pocket, and this is what you can get when you get a clean NFL pocket on an obvious passing down. Like I said, 3rd and 6. They know you're throwing it. Can you block us? We're going to play a game up front to try to mess with you. Can you stay square? Can you keep your levels? The inside 3, Isaac, Zach, and Mason, they all keep level. They pass it off beautifully. It's a good, like I said, it's a good NFL pocket here. Okay. 2nd and 1. We're at the Baltimore 15-yard line. Steelers come out in 12 personnel. Now, look, they got 8 guys in the box. What are you going to do? They got 8 guys in the box. Even though we're in 12 personnel, they're like, we see what you're doing here. You're going to run this football. Now, I like this scheme by Arthur Smith here because this is a toss influence. Because while Russ tosses the ball, this is basically an inside zone that's supposed to be cut back. And how you know this is not a toss play right? Look at Broderick's first step. He's not trying to reach anybody. That's not what he's doing. He's cutting off backside. That's his job. So he knows the play is going away. And also, look where the toss goes. It's a toss influence to get the defense thinking that you're tossing the ball, but that's basically almost straight back. So good job as far as the influence. They just got more guys than we can block. I mean, Roquan Smith is standing there. I mean, everybody does their job. They come off. They're blocking their guy, but we got 7. They got 8. And what are you going to do? Like I said, I like the play here. I thought Pruitt coming across the line could have been a little bit more physical. He's kind of brother-in-law there. Thought he could be more physical because Jalen, again, breaks the first tackle. And if Pruitt's more physical, maybe this play goes for 8 yards. But he brother-in-laws it and just kind of eases into the block. I'm like, come on, man, go hit the guy. But yeah, because like I said, Jalen breaks the initial tackle, but everybody gets blocked except for the guy that we can't block because, again, you can't block. If you got 7 guys to block 8, it's just not going to work out for you. I'm sorry. But other than that, everybody is good here. I like Washington and Moore. I like that double team. It wasn't the perfect double team, and Dan Moore slips, but I like it. Isaac and Zach Frazier do a good job. Mason, too high on initial contact, but he's moving. He's keeping his feet. I don't like how Mason keeps giving his chest up. Either way, physical football play here that the Steelers needed down here at this time of the game. I liked it. 2nd and 10, Pittsburgh 38. We're in 12 personnel again. 12 personnel. We got 2 tight ends off the line of scrimmage on the left. Weird formation. Steelers running a lot. I like it. Now, here are some good redirects here. Look at our 2 tackles, Dan Moore and Broderick. Because you look at the alignment that the Ravens are in, you count them basically at the line of scrimmage. You can count Hamilton here. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 guys. And if you want to count the other outside guy, just off the screen there, 8, but let's just say 7 in the box here. But look at the redirect because it looks like they're bringing a lot, and both Dan Moore and Broderick, as soon as their guys drop out, they look immediately inside and blow up the 3 technique. Both of them do. It's a good job out here by both of them. Now, the guy that I want to really highlight on this play, though, is Isaac Siamalu. So, Isaac, you see, he's got a guy that's coming. But what he really does is, you notice Roquan Smith blitzing, and he doesn't really hesitate. It's at the snap, he's coming. But Najee, who's supposed to block him, he runs out immediately. He runs up there. So I guess it wasn't immediately, but he runs up to the line. It's almost like he doesn't see him, and then he runs out. Well, Roquan is your guy. So he doesn't block him. And he's coming, but Isaac ends up coming off the 3 technique and blocks Roquan as well. He basically blocks, not basically, he blocks 2 guys on this play. It's a good job by him. Zach Frazier fighting, gets a little loose at the end, but he fights. McCormick, good job here. Stays square. Gets a little help from Broderick. That's okay, but he stays square. Like, that's been his main problem, is staying square. Staying square. He does. But yeah, Isaac does a real good job here picking up 2. He picks up 2. But I like the redirect. It starts with the redirect by the tackles. Because a lot of times, for instance, if Dan Moore doesn't push the 3 technique inside, I think this is a sack. Because if he doesn't push him inside, Isaac doesn't go inside because his guy's still out there, and Roquan comes free. So, starts with the redirect. I really like this football play by both tackles here. Third and 7, Baltimore 46. We're in 11 personnel. Got to throw it. Got to have it. Now, the first thing that I want to mention here is our man Broderick Jones. Now, some might say this is holding. I don't think it is, because Broderick's on the inside, and he's not beat. He slams him down. Now, some might say it's holding, whatever. I'll take the aggression 100% of the time. I will take this aggression 100% of the time. Like, because I don't think he's beat here. Getting pushed back, and I know he goes to the inside some, but he has his hands inside, and that's why they don't call holding, because his hands are inside, slams the guy to the ground. I'll take that aggression from him all day long. And this isn't, oh, well, he tripped and the guy fell. No. He just slams him right to the ground. Good job, Broderick. Now, our man McCormick, on the other hand, whew, oh, my goodness. Again, you look at his footwork, that he immediately drops that right foot or right leg, whatever you want to say. He immediately does it. You're not a tackle, man. You've got to stay square. It doesn't matter that he's rushing wide. You got to slide your feet. You got to slide your feet over. You cannot drop your outside leg. And he does it immediately. Well, as soon as he does, you'll also notice at a contact, he's leaning forward, no punch, and immediately gets swam. Again, nobody's teaching you this. At some point, you got to take the responsibility to get better, man. And I know you're playing against good competition, and technically you're a backup, but you can't continue to let this happen. I will say, though, our man Zach Frazier cleans up for it and puts the guy on his butt, because that's what Zach Frazier does. Doesn't have an immediate threat. That's his job, is to help. And he does. But McCormick, not good. Here's the difference. Look at Isaac and what he does. He's square. You could say, well, Zach Frazier's there to help him. He doesn't have to be. What does Frazier do here? Just puts a hand out there. I mean, Isaac has his guy blocked. He has his guy blocked. So that's the difference. Square to the line of scrimmage and block. Dan Moore, good job here as well. Like I mentioned, the offensive line wasn't as bad as what people do or what people thought. They just weren't as bad. Warren, oh my God, that was almost the game right there. Lord have mercy. Cannot fumble. Cannot fumble. So, but hey, man, look, I appreciate all of you guys joining me. Like I mentioned, the offensive line, the day wasn't as bad. Now, granted, we didn't show you every single play from the offensive line, so there were some other stinkers that were out there. But the main thing is we got to get my man McCormick up to speed. We got to get him through this rookie wall. We got to get him through it, help him over it, around it, whatever the case may be. But he's got to get to the other side because it's really starting to be a glaring weakness for the Steelers right now. It's a problem. Let's just call it what it is. It's a problem. Um, and when he's doing that, with Broderick not being the greatest, it makes the right side pathetic. To be nice about it, it makes the right side pathetic. It's got to be better. Got to be better. Like I said, the line today wasn't horrific, but there was weaknesses in spots where they just can't have it. They just can't have it. So I appreciate all you guys being in here. Thank you again, as always. We continue to push these things out. Love you guys. We're going to have memberships coming out. We're going to be doing defense all 22s on the membership side. We're going to be doing full game all 22 breakdowns on the membership side. So remember, if you guys haven't yet, as soon as they come out, make sure that you join as a member. We're going to have several different levels for you guys to sign up for. So be on the lookout for those very, very soon. So appreciate you guys. Love you and aloha.